We talked about this, that Mikal hasn't really stepped up and Deandre hasn't really stepped up. And, they go through all of the numbers. The Suns have lost out 11 out of 15 games. 5 of those losses at least by 19 points. 4 of the 11 with teams with losing records. This is all stuff we know, all stuff we've talked about. But it says, listen, injuries tell a big tale. In the 15 games, the team's 2 best players, Booker and Paul, barely played together. Just 5 games, 15% of the possible minutes. And not 1 minute of that span has been played by starting forward Cam Johnson. So they were 9-5 earlier this season without Chris Paul when he had the foot injury. Mm-hmm. They were 11-4 when they didn't have Chris Paul and Cam Johnson last year during the regular season. They were 2-0 without him in the Western Conference Finals. And it says they even survived without Book. They were 8-3 last year during the regular season, 2-1 in the playoffs. The Suns have had an uncanny ability to overcome the loss of a guy or two on their roster until this year. Yep. This is the first year, and it's where you're not seeing it. They cannot overcome the loss of key guys. I mean, Cam Johnson's been out for a while. It's really hurt them. Now, part of that is the guy that would have replaced him, Jay Crowder. He's not even on the team. So he's waiting for a trade. So that really hurts. Booker elevated his game to a level to where, he got better and Chris Paul has gotten worse. So Chris is not able to carry the team in Book's absence. Book could carry the team if me and you were playing on it, okay? But Chris doesn't seem to have the ability to, he had 0 points in the first half the other day. Right. No points. Yeah. The game was over by halftime. It was an absolute blowout. It was embarrassing to watch. I know Chris is a great closer. There's nothing to close when you're down by 32 points in the second quarter.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, to me, honestly, this conversation about the struggles without Devin Booker, for me, it's more about Chris than it is about Deandre. Because as you pointed out, they survived stretches without Booker last year. They thrived during stretches without Booker last year. 8-3 was the record that you mentioned just a second ago. Yeah. I get it. Chris Paul's 37. He's in decline. I think the decline has been rather steep so far this year. We're all watching to see if he kind of pulls out of it, but he just has not been even close to the same Chris Paul. The number in the article that blew me away, that just, and if you watch these games, you've seen this, okay, but let's put a number to it. Devin Booker's not out there. He takes about 21 shots per game. Together, combined, Mikal Bridges and Deandre Ayton are taking only about 3 to 4 more shots per game in Devin Booker's absence. That's wrong, man. That's just, now, you can make the argument maybe that Mikal Bridges is better, less is more, right? The more shots he takes, the more he kind of gets exposed as being somewhat limited offensively. I might buy that. But this should have been the moment for Deandre Ayton to say, okay, let's go. Give me the ball. Come on, let's go. I got it. More shots. More of me trying to establish myself.
Everything that he normally did. 18.4 points, 9.1 rebounds. It's the same stuff.
Same stuff. More of me in the post. I want to get to the line more. I want to fill the gap more. And instead, he and Mikal combined are taking up 3.5 of those shots that have been vacated by the injured Devin Booker. That's wrong. That's so wrong.
So where are the other 17 shots going? Do you really want them going? Landry Shamet had a nice run there, so I understand that.
Chris Paul's getting a lot of them,
but if you look at it, who's my best players after Chris Paul and Devin Booker? It should be Mikal and Da.
100%.
So they should take a majority of those shots, to kind of help the team out. I memean, Damian Lee's been nice for them at times, but I don't want Torrey Craig shooting the ball or Josh Okogie shooting the ball or Jacques Landale shooting the ball. I mean, it's the DA stuff is interesting. I mean, they're in this stretch, 4 wins and 11 losses, 18 points, 9 rebounds. I mean,
same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was.
Yeah, it's like.
And then there's the comments, too, from Deandre Ayton. And these are to Dwayne Rankin after the Knicks loss. Quote, I don't even know, man. I don't even know what's going on. For me, I can tell you this. I'm not used to the no fighting us. I'm used to us being down 100 and we're still going to pull out and win the game. Right now, we don't have that. So that's the only thing that's going on throughout these games and why we're losing.
Wow.
I'm not used to the no fighting us. And again, that is one of those things that if you're watching these games and you've been accustomed to the Phoenix Suns for the last 2 years.
They were never out of a game.
Never.
They were never out of a game.
And they would never put themselves in a position where they were down 32 halfway through the second quarter. There was never no fight in this team, even on nights where you could excuse them for not having fight. Second night of a back-to-back after an emotional win the night before, you kind of go, okay, they're not going to have it tonight. They go out and win the game. I mean, where did that go? from the Suns. That's been just as concerning in this absence.
You talked about the physicality, the lack of physicality. Yeah, we've always, we'll have James Jones on the program in a little bit, and we'll ask him about, is the team as physical as it needs to be? I think they're lacking some athleticism. I think that they're lacking a little bit of athleticism. So I think that's hurt them a little bit. That's why I think if they do make a trade, they'd like to get an athletic wing. Yeah. I think that's something that they really would love to have, is an athletic wing player that can defend multiple positions and, long and rangy. I think that's what they would love to get if they do make a trade.